Hey guys, it's Jenny, and in this video I'll be recording the second Florida All-State audition music for this year. It's from the Rubank Advanced Method for Clarinet Volume 2. It's on page 53 and it's number 13. So I'm going to go ahead and play it, and then I'll give you some tips on how to practice. That one's really hard. I'm so glad that I don't have to play that for an audition. So the worst thing about it is so many flats. It's an A flat major, which is one of my least favorite keys. For some reason I don't really like D major either. But A flat is always tricky because of all of the D flats. They're hard to remember, and then they make you have to do weird pinky fingerings. So that's really the worst part about it. It's not the speed, though speed adds to it, and it's not even the articulations. So what I want to go through first is sort of the alternate fingerings that you need to use. Okay, so the first line is pretty standard. Whatever fingering you know for those notes is the fingering you should use. A lot of the times we're going from C to D flat. I prefer to play C with my right hand pinky. I know it's probably flipped there on YouTube, and D flat with my left. Okay, that's my preference. Then you can get to E flat. When we get down to the second line of music, the second measure, we have a high D flat. Just to remind those people, high D flat is the same as high C sharp. So it's thumb and register key, 2, 3, 1, 2, and no pinky for high D flat or C sharp. Okay, so that's the first fingering. Now look at the last measure of the second line, and excuse me for keeping and looking back at my music. I want to make sure that I tell you the correct fingerings that I used. Okay, so the first thing you have to know is in the beginning of that measure we go from C to E flat. Anytime we go C to E flat or E flat to C, you have to use left hand C, that's over there, to E flat. So that's the first thing I marked in. If I were to show you my music, I have L's and R's written everywhere to remember, because the music just goes by too fast for me to trust that I will remember what fingering to use. Okay, so I want reminders in there. So I do the left hand C to the E flat in the first beat of the last measure of the second line. Then we keep going on to the third and fourth beats. So we go E flat to F, which is fine. Then we have a D flat. We need to play that D flat with our left hand pinky. Then we go to E flat, and then you need to play again C with your left hand pinky, which means that the second D flat, yes, it's the second D flat we have in that measure, we need to play with our right hand pinky. So starting, this is the third and the fourth beat of the last measure of the second line. We go E flat F, then left D flat, E flat, left C, right D flat. Okay, now the other thing is the tempo that actually this was requested by my friend Wilnoska Gomez, and for Florida All-State their tempo marking is 96. That's a little bit too slow to do the entire thing in one breath. And the best places to breathe are after the eighth notes, which only happen two places, right? It happens at the beginning. We're not going to take a breath after the first eighth note. Then it happens at the beginning of the second line. We also don't really need air, and I practice it a couple ways. Sometimes I practice taking a breath there, but what happened was I still needed air. I needed more air to get through the entire piece. So what I decided to do is I'm not breathing after that eighth note on the second line, but I am dropping the last 16th note of the second line to take a breath. So if I played that last measure of the second line, I'll play it slowly. Okay, so I just drop that 16th note. You keep the same tempo and I take a quick catch breath. Now, the other thing I did to make it easier for me because the music goes by so fast, when we get to the third line, we have these short arpeggios and then the scale down. We're a little bit in F minor at this point. So I write in, if you practice a lot of arpeggios, which you should, I write in what key the arpeggio is in. So the first beat of the first measure of the third line, that's F minor. I'm reading the notes, but I'm also thinking it's F minor, playing F minor arpeggio that starts A flat, C to F, and then we come all the way down. On the third beat of that measure, we want to use right hand C and left hand D flat. And then we also have a G flat, and for those who are keeping tabs at home, G flat is the same as F sharp, okay? So make sure you play an F sharp there. Then the next measure, we have F, A flat, D flat, which is a D flat major arpeggio. So that's also what I'm thinking. This will only help if you practice a lot of arpeggios. If not, then we just need to woodshed it really slowly, okay? Now, once you get to the last measure of the third line, we're a little bit home free. The worst measures are measures 5, 6, and 7. 5, 6, and 7 are the worst measures of the entire thing. You will have to spend the most time on those 3 measures, okay? We get to, the whole thing's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 whole measures. Gosh, it's 11 measures of terror, a little bit. So, the last measure, we have a bunch, or the last measure of the third line, we have a bunch of accents. I don't think you should do them too accented. We don't want to hear it will sound ridiculous, especially fast. Let's remind myself of the tempo. It will be hard to show that. So you just want to lean a little bit on each one. Now the other thing is in the last measure of 16ths. It's basically an A flat major arpeggio that's broken. But because we're going from beat 2 to beat 3, we're going from a C to an A flat. The only way to get from C to A flat, you can't use your left hand C, because then left hand C, because then we can't get to left hand A flat. Okay, so you have to use right hand C to go to A flat with your left hand, right? Because there's only one way to play A flat, and that's with your left hand pinky. But we're coming from an E flat to the C, and if you remember before, I said whenever you're going from C to E flat or E flat to C, you have to use left hand C. Well, that won't work. So what you have to do is slide. So if we're looking at the last measure that has 16 notes in it, we go A flat, C, C, A flat, E flat, and then you need to slide down to C so that we can get to the A flat. I'm going to do it slowly for you once. Hopefully you can see my fingers. Oh, walk closer. You heard that first time, it didn't work that great. That's why we normally don't want to slide. So what you have to do is you have to practice it, and you have to be pretty light going from the E flat to the C, because if you're really trying it too hard, you're gonna have too much tension and your finger won't move and you won't get the slide happening. It will sound like, well, of course now when I want to show that it won't work, it does work. But you need to think loose fingers so that you can get from E flat to C, okay? And I would also, I'm going to write it in right now, I would also do a big crescendo to the end, okay? This whole thing is basically forte. You want to do some dynamic things in it. You don't just want to play forte the whole time through. And what I would suggest is you basically follow the line of the music. So from the beginning, we're going to the C, then we come down a little, but this is all within forte. Then we have it again the second 2 measures. Ba 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 be ba 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 be da da dum. On the D flat is where we're going. And then we have 3 measures of not fun. I would get a little louder every measure for measures 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 because we're really leading to the 8th measure where we have and don't be scared of the last note. It's a throat tone. You can make it sound good. What you need to figure out is when you're playing that A flat forte, because we're ending forte, how to make it in tune. You need to take your tuner and figure out, I play A flat. Let's see, how did I do it? Okay, I keep down my ring finger over my right hand and 2 and 3 middle and ring of my left hand. I said that wrong. I keep the ring finger down of my left hand and middle and ring of my right hand, okay? That's what makes it in tune on my clarinet. It's going to be different clarinet to clarinet, so you need to figure out maybe your A flat is just in tune without adding any other fingers down. Maybe you have to put more, maybe you have to put less or a different combination, but you need to work with your tuner and figure out what that is because that's our longest note of the entire thing. We want to make sure it's in tune, okay? All right, well, let me know if you have any questions about this in the comments below, and I'll talk to you soon. Happy practicing.